Every day, children are targeted by predators online. Whether it's games, social media, or apps, some you've never even heard of. The threats, they're real. And it's out there. It's closer than you think. Welcome to the podcast. As always, Lieutenant Jeremy Cox with the Grayson County Sheriff's Office. And today, kind of in honor of National Child Abuse Awareness Month, we have with us a member of our Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force investigative unit, Investigator
Jimmy Leverett.
And so Investigator Leverett is, like I mentioned, one of our investigators. He's specifically assigned to investigate crimes involving internet child exploitation. And so now you've been an officer, or you've been a member of law enforcement for how long?
21 years.
21 years. But that's not all been with the Sheriff's Office. Now, you've been with the Sheriff's Office for, 7 years?
That's correct, 7 years.
7 years. And some of that time was doing other things, but you've been an investigator for the last...
About 4 years.
4 years. So your current assignment, like I mentioned before, is with the Internet Crimes Against Children unit of our Criminal Investigations Division.
Yes.
Okay. And so let's kind of start with that. What exactly does or is the role of an Internet Crimes or ICAC investigator?
So ICAC is a network of task forces that span across the globe that focuses on combating online child exploitation. On a day-to-day basis, we receive cyber tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We process those cyber tips and utilize legal processes to attempt to identify and locate the offender.
All right, so talking about these tips you're talking about, they come in, from what I understand, they can come in from different areas. Like sometimes they come in from companies like internet service providers, and sometimes they're just for people.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, what led you to get involved or to be assigned to internet crimes against children?
Well, prior to working ICAC cases, I was assigned to investigate cases involving crimes against children, which included things like child abuse and sexual abuse. During that time, I found that many youth were being exploited online by various people, and I believe that working ICAC cases was a way for law enforcement to be proactive in trying to prevent some of these children from being victimized.
So trying to stop predators before they get a hands-on contact with a victim.
That's correct.
Wow, yeah. So trying to head them off at the pass, if you will.
Yes.
All right. So, most people think of predators, right, as people are, like lurking in the dark corners, and, a lot of that changed with the internet, right? And no longer is that the case, where you think about these predators as the creepy individual or whatever that has the van, or they're hiding in the darkness waiting for that opportunity around the playground. A lot of these they're right there, and it essentially, well, if you think about it, they're in the room with your kid because they're on the app with your kid. Snapchat, TikTok, Discord, the gaming apps, right? They're the ones that are talking to your children. Can we talk about that? What is your understanding, especially in your experience with those things?
Well, the internet has dramatically changed how predators operate and how we perceive them. Before, like you said, the image of a predator was somebody lurking about, someone that's separate from our lives. But with the internet, that boundary has been blurred. Online predators can easily disguise their identities and even pose as peers, authority figures, or people that are just trustworthy. The internet has also given predators unprecedented access to people, especially teenagers and children. They no longer have to be in physical proximity. They can reach into our homes and private moments through our cell phones. Because so many people associate danger with the physical world, they underestimate their dangers in the digital world.
And so that goes back to what I was saying a minute ago, right? Like you you could be sitting on the couch, watching a movie with your kids, and they're over there on their device, and you think it's just you having family time, but it could be you and your child, and then the predator that's trying to exploit them.
That's right.
So, what are some red flags or signs that parents and guardians can, they should watch for for their children's online activity?
So that's a great question, because recognizing these red flags in a child's online activity is key to catching issues early. Some of the warning signs to watch for include sudden secrecy, like where your child starts hiding their screen or is refusing to talk about who they're communicating with online. Also, some other red flags are if your child starts experiencing mood swings after going online, especially anger, sadness, or anxiety. Also, if a loss of interest in activities they used to enjoy is also something to watch out for.
So like if they used to enjoy going and doing their sports activities, maybe if they were involved in soccer or some other type of activity like that, or like an extracurricular activity, and now they don't want to do that, they just want to be focused on their online activity.
That's correct.
Almost like they're tied to it.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of, let's shift gears, right? Let's talk about you, okay? What kind of training does it take to do the kind of work that you and I know your partner do on a day-to-day basis?
So there's actually a lot of training involved. As investigators, we need to be trained on how to manage the information that we receive from the cyber tips. We also need training on on-scene investigations, which include finding hidden devices to interview and interrogation techniques. Also, we need to know how to recover and process digital evidence and how to identify and deal with child victims. Investigators should also be up to date on new and current trends with online platforms such as Snapchat, Kik, Facebook, etc.
And so, trying to stay up to date in what is an ever-changing, always evolving platform or media is daunting.
Yes.
Right? I mean, there's every day you wake up and there's some update to some social media platform.
Exactly.
And a lot of those updates aren't just the face, right? The way that you interact with it on the front end. A lot of times it's on the back end too, and that can sometimes change how you as an investigator may have to deal with that.
Exactly.
So, without giving any sensitive details away, right? Can you share maybe a case or a situation that really sticks with you, something to kind of show how important this work is?
So a couple of years ago, the Sheriff's Office began investigating a cyber tip involving child sexual abuse material. When we went to the house to execute a search warrant, we discovered that not only was the offender possessing and viewing child pornography, but there was also a young child in the house that was being victimized. Because of that investigation, we were able to rescue that child from that situation and bring the offender to justice. Wow.
So what starts out as just a cyber tip, right? Like, mm-hmm. Hey, either this person, and I don't know the details, right? Like, but just this person may or may not have or be in possession of some images, per se. And then you do your work, find out who they are through your investigative methods. But when you get there, you essentially rescue a child. Mm-hmm. Man, that's what the work's about, right? Like, that's why you do what you do.
Exactly.
So that drives home. That should drive home why it's so important, and why the sheriff's office here takes this unit so seriously and invests so heavily in this unit, and why we here at the sheriff's office and at other agencies all across the U.S. because you're not the only one, right?
Correct.
In fact. my understanding in our conversations leading up to this, that you are part of a network, right? Like, and I don't mean like you and some person in Tulsa, but like you and other organizations here in the North Texas region.
Correct.
Like y'all communicate with each other all the time.
Yes, we do.
Man, that's why the work is important, Grayson County. All right, so what is one thing you wish every parent, caregiver, guardian knew about online safety?
It is extremely important that you monitor your child's online activity and that you're aware of what apps they are using and who they are communicating with. So a lot of these apps, as well as the devices that your child is using, offer parental controls which allow you to help monitor their activity.
Okay, absolutely. So kind of, just being present.
Exactly.
So with that, if there were any kids or teenagers watching the podcast or listening, what would you want them to know?
So be very careful, because the people that you're communicating with online may not be who you think they are. Many predators go online and groom young people into putting themselves into risky situations. Never, ever send a stranger photos of yourself or any personal information about yourself.
I remember hearing a talk about this topic, and there was a U.S. attorney who was giving this portion of the talk, and she specifically said, she was referencing a certain platform, and she said, a lot of teenagers, young people like to use that platform because they felt safe because, it let them know when somebody screenshot their picture. Mm-hmm. And her response to that was, so what? It doesn't matter because now they have it.
Exactly.
And it's out of your control. And once they have it, and there's nothing you can do about it. So don't send it in the first place. Yeah, totally. Don't fall into that trap. So is there any kind of support that our agency provides investigators, because these cases are tough, right? Like, this is tough work, mentally taxing, especially over long periods of time. Is there anything that we do here for you?
So the Sheriff's Office provides peer support for deputies and investigators involved in cases that can be traumatic.
We've talked here about our peer support system, that is a topic that is important to understand in and of itself. It's one thing for an individual to talk to someone like a clinician, if you will, but it's another thing to talk to someone who maybe has walked a mile in your shoes, mm-hmm. right? And hear that perspective from them, that it is going to be okay. Yeah, good. If someone suspects that their child or a child that they know is being groomed or exploited online, what should they do?
Report it. Call your local law enforcement agency and report what's happening. You can also report it to the tip line on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and at the cybertipline.org.
Okay, and that number is 1-800-THE-LOST. So I really, really, really appreciate you, Jimmy, coming on here. And I know you've got a busy schedule, and I know you're dedicated to your work. And I appreciate you taking some time this morning and coming on and talking with me and bringing light to Grayson County about the work that you do, you and your team. And so very, very much, I can't express how much I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
So to everyone listening, child exploitation is real, and it is happening in communities all across the United States. But with education and vigilance and with the right people on the job, we can fight back. So, with that being said, Grayson County, make sure you like and subscribe and follow our page here and share, right? Share this so that other people can see it. Maybe get some information, maybe help them. And so we appreciate it. Lieutenant Jeremy Cox from the Grayson County Sheriff's Office, always reminding you to follow the podcast every Thursday at 9 a.m. here on our page. And stay safe, Grayson County.